All right, so get this. We're diving into this company, Ainos, and they're taking on like oral warts, dry eyes, even cat dental problems.
Now, that's quite a range.
I know, right? Sounds kind of random, but stick with me here. There's this common thread. It's their drug, Veldona, and how it works with the immune system.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Yeah, we're going to see if this one drug could be like a total game changer.
All right, let's dive in.
So what is it about Veldona that makes it so special?
Well, the really fascinating thing about Veldona is it works with the body's natural defenses, the immune system, to tackle all these like seemingly unrelated issues.
Yeah.
It's actually a low-dose oral form of interferon-alpha.
Okay.
And that's something that's been studied for a really long time.
Right.
But here's the twist. Veldona delivers those immune-boosting benefits, but without those nasty side effects you usually get from like traditional interferon injections.
So it's like a gentler approach.
Yeah.
More targeted.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's like using a scalpel instead of a sledgehammer.
I like that analogy.
And that precision is what opens up possibilities for treating so many different conditions.
That makes sense. So let's break down these conditions a little bit.
Okay.
Starting with oral warts in HIV-positive patients.
Okay.
I know it might not sound like the most serious issue.
Right.
But
it can be really debilitating.
Totally.
Yeah.
And what are the treatment options like right now?
Well, treatment options are actually pretty limited right now, and that's where Veldona comes in.
Okay.
Ainos is running these trials in Taiwan.
Mm-hmm.
And the early results are really promising.
Oh, wow.
We're talking significant reduction in wart size. And remember, this is with a simple pill.
Right.
Not surgery or harsh medications.
That's huge.
Oh.
Okay, so then what about Sjogren's syndrome?
Okay.
For folks who don't know, it's an autoimmune condition
Right.
that causes like really uncomfortable dryness in the eyes and mouth.
Yeah, it mostly affects women in like middle age. And what's really interesting here is how Ainos is measuring Veldona's effectiveness.
Oh, how so?
They're using these measures called ESSPI and SSDI.
Oh, okay.
Which are basically scoring systems that doctors use all over the world.
Got it.
It's a way to really specifically track how the drug's improving symptoms.
So it's not just like anecdotal evidence.
Yeah.
They're really using hard data.
Exactly.
Okay, and then they're also looking at Veldona for cats, right?
You got it.
Specifically something called feline chronic gingivostomatitis.
Yeah.
Or FCGS.
It's a mouthful.
It is a mouthful. What is that exactly?
So it's basically a painful gum disease in cats.
Oh.
And current treatments aren't ideal.
What do they usually do?
Often involve steroids or even pulling teeth.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But with Veldona,
Yeah.
they're looking at a way to manage this disease by, again, working with the cat's immune system.
It's interesting to me how they're choosing these very specific conditions to target. Do you think there's a strategy there?
Absolutely. They're going after what are called orphan diseases.
Okay.
So basically, these are rare conditions, which means there aren't many treatments available.
Got it.
And Ainos is aiming for something called orphan drug designation for Veldona.
Okay.
You can kind of think of it as like a fast track for promising drugs that are targeting these rare diseases.
So less competition and they can potentially get it to market faster.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Plus, it comes with some sweet perks.
Like what?
Like tax breaks and expedited approvals.
Oh, wow.
It's a win-win for Ainos and for patients who desperately need new treatment options.
That makes a lot of sense. So with these trials underway,
Right.
Ainos is already looking ahead to kind of the next stage.
Yeah.
It sounds like they're anticipating finishing the cat trial by March 2025 and the human trials in Taiwan by early 2026.
Yeah, they've got big plans after that.
Oh, really? Like what?
Well, they're talking about submitting all their findings to regulators in Taiwan and then setting their sights on getting approval from the US FDA, which is, the big leagues when it comes to drug approvals.
Absolutely. It's a long road, but they seem to be making some pretty impressive progress.
Yeah.
What I think is really remarkable is that they're doing all this while being super efficient with their resources.
Right.
They're not just like burning through cash.
No, they're not.
Like some biotech companies.
That's a key point.
Yeah.
They're not just throwing money at the problem. They're using a very targeted strategic approach.
Yeah.
And that frugality is actually reflected in their recent Q3 earnings report.
Oh, wow.
Things are looking very healthy financially.
That's great to hear. And they're not stopping there.
No.
Remember, AI knows.
Yeah.
There's super cool technology for detecting stuff like, I don't know, maybe cancer just from someone's breath.
It's pretty amazing.
I know. Well, they just snagged even more patents for that.
Wow.
Which means their intellectual property portfolio is growing stronger by the day.
They're firing on all cylinders.
It seems like it.
That's really a testament to their long-term vision. They're not just focused on one product or one market. They're thinking big.
Right.
And that's what makes them so intriguing.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here, but I want to pause and ask the big question.
Okay.
What does this all mean? What's the potential impact of Veldona if it actually lives up to the hype?
Well, let's just say it could be a game changer for Ainos,
Okay.
but more importantly, it could be a game changer for countless people who are suffering from these conditions.
Right.
Imagine a future where a simple pill can effectively treat oral warts,
Yeah.
Sjogren's syndrome, even that nasty catgum disease.
It's pretty amazing.
That's the vision Ainos is pursuing.
It's pretty incredible to think about.
It really is.
Yeah.
But, we need to be realistic.
Of course.
There are always risks and uncertainties in this world, especially in the pharmaceutical industry.
Right.
So let's shift gears a bit and dive into what that FDA approval process might look like for Ainos.
Yeah, let's unpack this whole FDA approval thing.
Yeah.
What are the major hurdles that Ainos is going to have to clear to get Veldona on the market here in the U.S.?
Well, think of the FDA approval process like a multi-stage obstacle course.
Okay.
Ainos has to clear each hurdle, proving that Veldona is both safe and effective before reaching the finish line.
Which is?
FDA approval.
Got it. Sounds intense. Where do they even start?
So first up is something called an IND application.
Okay.
That stands for Investigational New Drug.
Okay.
It's basically Ainos formally asking the FDA for permission to run clinical trials with Veldona here in the U.S.
So it's like submitting their game plan for the FDA to review.
Exactly. What all goes into this IND thing?
Yeah, what all goes into that?
Well, it's pretty comprehensive.
Okay.
They have to include all the data from those 68 clinical studies they already did.
Wow.
Details on how Veldona is manufactured.
Okay.
And importantly, the exact plans for their proposed U.S. trials.
It's very specific.
Transparency is key here.
Makes sense. The FDA wants to make sure everything's legit before they let them test on people here.
Exactly.
What happens after Ainos submits the IND?
Well, then it's a nail-biting waiting game.
I bet.
The FDA has 30 days to review everything.
Okay.
They might come back with questions to ask for tweaks to the trial plans, or if everything looks good, give them the green light to proceed.
I bet Ainos' experience working with the FDA before, especially incorporating that feedback from earlier trials, is going to come in handy here.
Absolutely. Knowing how the FDA thinks is a huge advantage.
Right.
Now, assuming they get the thumbs up,
Right.
let's talk about what these U.S. trials might actually look like.
Okay.
It's not just one big study, right?
Yeah, I've heard about these phases of clinical trials. Can you break that down?
Sure. So the FDA usually requires what's called a phased approach.
Okay.
Phase 1 is all about safety.
Okay.
They're testing Veldona on a small group of healthy volunteers, figuring out the right dosage and looking for any immediate red flags.
So making sure it's not going to cause any weird side effects.
Exactly. If phase 1 goes well,
Yeah.
they move on to phase 2,
Okay.
where they test Veldona on a larger group of people who actually have the condition they're targeting,
Right.
like oral warts or Sjogren's.
Got it.
This phase is about seeing if the drug actually works,
Okay.
if it does what it's supposed to do.
And then phase 3 is the big one.
Phase 3 is like the final exam.
Okay.
They test Veldona on an even larger group of patients, confirming its effectiveness, monitoring for any long-term side effects, and comparing it to either existing treatments or a placebo.
Wow, it's a long and winding road.
Yeah.
But Ainos already has tons of data from those previous studies and the ongoing trials in Taiwan.
Right.
Does that give them a leg up?
It definitely could.
Yeah.
The FDA might consider some of that existing data as part of their review,
Okay.
potentially speeding things up.
Yeah.
But it's not a guarantee.
Right.
They still have to meet the FDA's strict standards.
Of course.
Hmm.
Okay, so let's fast forward a bit. Let's say Ainos aces all 3 phases of the U.S. trials.
Okay.
What happens next? Is it smooth sailing to FDA approval?
Not quite. They've got one more big hurdle.
Uh-oh.
Submitting a new drug application, or NDA.
Okay.
Think of it as the ultimate report card, summarizing everything they've learned about Veldona,
Okay.
clinical data safety info, even the proposed label for the drug bottle.
Wow.
It's a lot.
Sounds like a mountain of paper.
Okay, it's a complex process for sure.
Yeah.
But remember, the FDA's job is to make sure that any new drug is both safe and effective for the public.
Right.
If Veldona can clear all these hurdles, it means they've got something truly special.
That's a good point. It makes you appreciate the rigor behind these approvals. So assuming the FDA gives Veldona the stamp of approval,
Yeah.
where does that leave Ainos?
In a fantastic position. They would have this innovative drug potentially, with those orphan drug designation perks we talked about,
Right.
and a global market that is eager for new and effective treatments.
And don't forget their move into the animal health market.
That's right.
If Veldona works for cats, that's a whole other revenue stream opening up.
Exactly. And who knows? It might even pave the way for using Veldona to treat other conditions in animals.
Wow.
The possibilities are pretty exciting.
This whole journey is fascinating, seeing how Ainos is navigating this complex world of drug development.
It is?
But I think it's time we step back and consider the big picture.
Okay.
What would it look like if Ainos achieves all their goals? What kind of impact could Veldona have on the healthcare landscape?
Now that's a question worth pondering.
I think so.
Let's imagine a world where Veldona is a success story.
Okay.
So for folks with HIV who are struggling with these oral warts, Veldona could be a game changer.
In what way?
Well, imagine a simple pill.
Okay.
Instead of painful procedures,
Right.
less time at the doctor's office, less stress, just overall better quality of life.
Yeah, that would be huge. What about for people with Sjogren's syndrome?
Right, always battling that dryness.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine the relief Suddenly, everyday things like eating or talking aren't a constant struggle.
That's a big deal. And of course, we can't forget about the cats.
Absolutely.
No more drastic dental surgery for those felines with FCGS. Think about how much stress that would take off both the cats and their owners.
It's a win-win.
It is a win-win, but it's bigger than just these specific conditions, right?
Yeah.
Isn't the real breakthrough here how Veldona actually works?
Yeah,
Like essentially retraining the immune system.
you've hit the nail on the head.
Okay.
If Ainos is right, and this low-dose targeted approach is the key,
Yeah.
it opens up a whole new way of thinking about treating diseases.
Interesting. So it's not just masking the symptoms, it's
Right.
getting to the root of the problem.
Exactly.
Could we see Veldona or
Yeah.
drugs like it being used for things we haven't even considered yet?
Absolutely. Think about autoimmune diseases.
Okay.
There are so many, and current treatments often come with a laundry list of side effects.
Yeah, it seems like that's always the case.
What if Veldona could offer a gentler and more effective alternative?
That would be pretty amazing.
It would. It's mind-blowing to think about the potential ripple effect here.
Totally.
Ainu's success could really inspire a wave of new research and development into these low-dose interferon therapies.
It's almost like a paradigm shift in medicine.
Exactly. It could be the spark that ignites a whole new era of immune-based treatments.
Wow.
And not just for humans, but for animals, too. Talking about a potential revolution in healthcare.
Okay, now I'm getting a little carried away here.
Yeah.
We have to acknowledge this is still a big if.
Right.
There are no guarantees when it comes to drug development.
Absolutely. You're right.
Yeah.
There are always challenges, setbacks, unexpected roadblocks.
Always.
But from what we've seen, Ainos has a solid plan, a strong team, and a willingness to learn and adapt.
It sounds like it. They're definitely a company worth watching.
They are.
Their story is a reminder that innovation often comes from tackling those seemingly impossible challenges
Right.
with like a mix of scientific rigor and a touch of audaciousness.
And that's what makes this deep dive so compelling.
Yeah.
It's not just about one company or one drug. It's about the power of human ingenuity to push the boundaries of what's possible.
I like that. Well said. So as we wrap up our exploration of Ainos and their quest to make Veldona a reality, I'm left with a sense of hope and honestly a bit of awe. It's a testament to the power of science,
Yeah.
the importance of perseverance,
Absolutely.
and the potential for breakthroughs that could change countless lives for the better.
And that's what it's all about, isn't it?
I think so.
Using knowledge and innovation to make the world a healthier place for everyone, humans and animals alike.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and who knows, maybe you'll be the one to unearth the next big breakthrough.
So for folks with HIV struggling with those oral warts, imagine if Veldona is a success story.
Yeah, what would that look like?
A simple pill instead of those painful procedures. Less time at the doctor's office, less stress, just better quality of life.
Yeah, that would be huge. And for people with Sjogren's always battling that dryness,
Right. Imagine if suddenly things like eating or talking weren't a constant struggle.
that would be incredible.
Even our feline friends.
Yeah,
No more drastic dental surgery for cats with FCGS.
right. Less stress for everyone involved.
Exactly. A
This
win-win.
really is, but it's bigger than just these specific conditions, isn't it?
It is.
It's how Veldona works retraining the immune system.
You got it.
So if Ainos is right about this low-dose targeted approach.
It could change everything.
Wow.
It's not about masking symptoms. It's about getting to the root cause.
So like a whole new way of thinking about treating diseases.
Exactly.
Could we see Veldona or drugs like it being used for things we haven't even thought of yet?
Absolutely. Think about autoimmune diseases.
Oh, wow.
There are so many, and the current treatments have so many side effects.
Yeah, that's always the issue.
What if Veldona could offer a gentler, more effective alternative?
It's amazing to think about the possibilities.
It really is. Ainos' success could inspire a whole wave of new research
Yeah.
into these low-dose interferon therapies.
It's like a paradigm shift.
Exactly. A
Yeah.
whole new era of immune-based treatments.
And not just for humans.
Right? For animals, too.
Incredible.
Yeah.
We're talking about a revolution in healthcare.
We are, but
Yeah.
we do have to remember this is all still a big if.
Right. There are no guarantees in drug development.
Exactly. Challenges, setbacks, roadblocks, they happen.
All the time.
But Ainos seems to have a solid plan,
Mhm.
a strong team, and they're willing to learn and adapt.
They are definitely a company to watch.
For sure.
It's amazing how innovation comes from tackling these seemingly impossible challenges
Right.
with that mix of scientific rigor and a little bit of audaciousness.
And that's what makes this deep dive so fascinating.
I agree.
It's not just about Ainos or Veldona.
It's bigger than that,
It's about human ingenuity
pushing the boundaries.
of what's possible.
Well said. As we wrap up our deep dive into Ainos and Veldona, I'm left with this sense of hope
Yeah.
and a bit of awe, honestly.
I get it.
It's a testament to the power of science and perseverance,
Absolutely.
and the potential for these breakthroughs that could change so many lives.
And that's what it's all about, right?
It is using knowledge and innovation to make the world a healthier place for everyone.
Humans and animals alike.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and who knows, maybe you'll be the one to unearth the next big breakthrough.